Welcome to Lola's Frugal Life Podcast. If you're on a mission to be more frugal with both your time and money, you're in the right place. In this podcast, we talk about topics that help enhance living a frugal lifestyle. The goal is to save time and money where we can so that we can use the rest on what matters most to us. We talk a lot about both time and money management so that we can waste as little as possible on both. We do this while also embracing a progress over perfection mindset. If that sounds good to you, then please stick around for the latest episode right after a few quick words from our sponsor.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my weekly meal plan episode. This is an episode that comes out every Wednesday where I share my family's meal plan for the upcoming week. There's also a blog post that goes along with this episode that comes out on the same day that can be found on my website at lolasfrugallife.com. And in that blog post, you can find a link to any recipes that I might mention in this episode. I do the meal plans because I think that maybe it can be helpful to someone who's maybe struggling with coming up with a meal plan for the week, or just kind of needs some reminders or some ideas of similar things you may make. Meal planning saves a lot of time and money. It allows you to buy the groceries that you're actually going to use and not buy groceries that you end up throwing out because you don't really have a plan for them. So that's why I share this each week. So the first day of this meal plan is Saturday, January 6th. And for Saturday, we're going to be doing baked ziti, Roman numeral 2, which is from allrecipes.com. It's just your very typical baked ziti. It's got ziti pasta combined with ricotta cheese, mozzarella cheese, egg, and sauce, and you bake it in the oven. And then I'm also going to be making Chef John's meatballs with that, which is also from allrecipes.com. How I like to do this meal is I will make the baked ziti. I'll put the baked ziti together and then get it in the oven. And then while the baked ziti's in the oven, I get the meatballs prepared. And then when the ziti comes out, it's supposed to sit for like 15 minutes. The meatballs only take like 20 minutes to cook. So while the ziti is sitting, waiting to be ready to be eaten, I throw the meatballs in the oven, and then it's all done at the right time. So that kind of works out as a good combination like that. For Sunday, I'm going to be doing homemade chicken franchise, which is from dinneratthezoo.com. This is a very simple, not very, very simple, but pretty simple chicken franchise recipe. Basically, you just coat the chicken in flour and egg, and then you cook it up in a frying pan with some olive oil, and then you make this sauce with chicken broth, wine, lemon juice, and some other seasonings. And we're going to serve that with some angel hair pasta. For Monday, I'm going to be making Jenny-O's Best Ever Meatloaf, which is from jenny-o.com. This is a turkey meatloaf recipe. It's just one that I've always made since my kids were younger, so we really like that one. And then I'm going to be doing some box shells and cheese and some carrot fries. Again, I made carrot fries a few weeks ago and it went over really well. They're actually really good and really simple. So I'm going to do that again. That's from foodnetwork.com. The recipe actually calls for them to go in the oven, but I just throw them in the air fryer. So if you have an air fryer, they come out really great like that too. For Tuesday, we're going to be doing cheesy chicken nacho recipe. We always do a Mexican theme on Tuesday. So this week we're doing nachos. You can do it with shredded rotisserie chicken, or you can just cook up some chicken in Instant Pot or in the slow cooker, or however you like to make chicken that you can shred. You just top the nachos with the chicken and with cheese and cook them in the oven. And then when it's done, you can top them with whatever else you like. We like to put out avocado, sour cream, jalapenos, all that kind of stuff, salsa, and everything else that you like to put on top of nachos. For Wednesday, we're going to be doing easy shrimp scampi. We usually do some type of seafood on Wednesday, so this recipe is from spendwithpennies.com. This is a really quick stovetop shrimp scampi recipe. So it comes together really quick in a frying pan. You just do some butter and olive oil, garlic and red pepper, and then you add the shrimp, cook it up. You wind up making a sauce with, I think it's with white wine, and it basically just with white wine. You use the leftover butter and olive oil after you cook the shrimp, and you just kind of cook that up with the white wine and a little bit of seasoning, and that comes together really quickly. And then we're just going to serve that with some linguine on the side. When I make a pasta on the side like that without like a sauce specifically for it, I'll just usually mix in like some butter and olive oil, sometimes just butter, sometimes just olive oil, but I usually do a mixture. And then add a little bit of salt to the pasta too, for a little extra flavor. For Thursday, we usually do either some type of soup or breakfast for dinner. This week, we're going to be doing soup. I'm going to be making slow cooker corn chowder, which is from damndelicious.net. This recipe actually calls for ears of corn, using the kernels from the ears of the corn, but I don't actually do that. I think I use like I'm trying to remember how many cans of corn. I think I just use like 2 cans of corn for this recipe, and it comes out just fine. So that's how I make that, and I'm actually going to do grilled cheese on the side with that because it's kind of like a good soup to go with grilled cheese because it's not like very like substantial, so it's going to go good with grilled cheese. And then for Friday, we're going to be doing hamburgers. We do hamburgers every other Friday. So this Friday is one of our hamburger nights. So for hamburgers, I just take some ground beef and make it into patties and cook it up in a frying pan or on the grill, depending on the weather. Right now, we're doing in the frying pan. I will then usually always make a can of baked beans on the side. And then I'll also be doing oven fresh seasoned potato wedges, which is from allrecipes.com. This is a really good potato recipe to go with hamburgers. You just take potatoes, you don't have to peel them, you just cut them into wedges and you mix them in a Ziploc bag with some olive oil and Parmesan cheese, onion powder, garlic powder, salt and pepper, and then you bake them in the oven until they're nice and crispy. And it goes really well with the hamburgers. It's a good potato side dish. So that's it for this week's meal plan. Like I mentioned, you can find this entire weekly meal plan as well as all the previous weeks that I've done on my blog at lolasfrugallife.com. And it has any links to recipes that I may have mentioned in this episode that you might want to try. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you back here next week.
So thank you for checking in for this podcast episode. And don't forget, you can always email me with any questions or suggestions at lolasfrugallife@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at lolasfrugallife. And you can find a blog post for most of my episodes and definitely all of my meal plan episodes at lolasfrugallife.com. You can also join our private listeners group at facebook.com/groups/lolasfrugallife. And if you enjoy the show, please make sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you listen from. And I would love it if you would screenshot the show and tag me on Instagram so I could see you're listening. Also, if you can please take a couple of seconds to rate and review the podcast. Those ratings and reviews are what help the show come up better in search results so that other people can find this podcast. So that will really help me in growing my audience. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have an awesome day.